Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
To the west of the great continent of Kern lies the island provinces of Perth, home to brave seafarers, exotic pleasures, storms of swirling magical energy, and cults dedicated to the old gods. Upon these white sands came the Eve's Watch, a band of sellswords and brutes seeking their fortune upon the shores of these lands. Let me tell you of this age of legends, for I and I alone am keeper of their saga. This is their chronicle.
You had your eyes on this nobleman for a while. He's wealthy. He flaunted a lot of his money. He had rings. He shopped a lot. He lived in a big manor house. So naturally, he was your mark while you were here in Perth. So you got to know him. You endeared yourself to him, chatted him up at a cafe, bumped into him every now and again, purposefully, of course, and finally was invited over to his home for cocktails. After a wonderful evening of conversation, you bid him good night, walked out the gate of his manor, and then immediately walked around the back and just hung out smoking your pipe until the last of the lights went off. And when they went off, you scaled the wall, climbed your way up into his second floor, and began to help yourself to all of the wonderful, shiny, valuable things that you could fit inside your pack. Unfortunately, you were caught. Hadn't been the first time you were caught red-handed. And so it was that you found yourself immediately placed under arrest, thankful that you weren't killed, and thankful that you didn't have to kill anybody and flee yet another city. But you found yourself at the stocks. You weren't entirely sure if they were going to sit you there on display, sell you away to slavery, or hang you. There were plenty of nooses available that were empty of neck. And then a group of foreigners walked by under guard of several of the Queen's royal soldiers. And for a moment, each one of them made eye contact with you, catching your eye, and then continued on their way. But finally, the leader of the group, a tall, handsome Perthan man who looks like he's seen a campaign or two, stopped and held a brief conversation with another soldier and sent him your way. You've made kind of a name for yourself, both good and bad. I guess it depends on who it is you're talking to or who is uttering your name. Sometimes it's uttered as a curse, and other times there's some admiration attached to it. On this particular occasion, there was a bit of admiration. So this soldier of the Queen's approached the man, the executioner, you assume, or the slaver, or maybe he was both, and offered him some money and mentioned the name of the Queen. And so it was that you found yourself under the employ of the Queen, specifically to act as bodyguard to her daughter, the Princess Jeel. You were made aware that there was a decoy, and that those foreigners that you saw passing by were guarding the decoy. It was their job to be out and about and seen with the decoy, while it was your job to make sure that the princess didn't get herself in any trouble, killed, or kidnapped. And you did a pretty good job until that one day in the afternoon. There was a ruckus, and those foreigners came in dragging a corpse of the decoy. And as that was going on, the Princess Jeel went out to her balcony to see what the commotion was. And as you turned to protest her going out by herself, the last thing you remember seeing was a set of big black talons snatch her around the shoulders and take flight. So you set up an alarm, and then, just as the door burst open to the princess's chambers and the foreigners came piling in, you leapt off the balcony and gave chase on foot after this flying beast. And you found your way into the jungle and managed to keep yourself alive long enough to find the keep that she was brought to, the alleged home of the sorcerer Zayeron, who no doubt had some nefarious purpose in mind for this poor young princess. So you cased the joint, so to speak, as you were used to, and were watching the goings-ons of the guards. And finally, the foreigners showed up. And you watched the bloodbath that happened on the bridge. They slaughtered rather mercilessly the snake lizard man things that Zayeron had kept as his guards. And then, after the bloodbath was over, that same man, that tall, handsome warrior who you saw in the bazaar at the slavers' stocks, walked out onto the bridge amongst a host of his soldiers. And he had called out a challenge. Now, there is a hefty sum of money in the balance, which is why you walked for days through the jungle to this keep, avoiding all manner of hostilities. And you intend on getting paid. So you have determined that you are going to return with the princess, and maybe even with the head of this sorcerer, because I'm sure there's a pretty penny attached to that as well. So from your perch, up in a tree, you watch as the group of foreigners ready themselves for another assault on the keep. What is it you're going to do?
Are there trees around me?
Tons of trees, a dense jungle.
I'm going to climb up into a tree, and I'm going to perch myself there and wait quietly and see where they're going to move.
The rest of you.
Ku reminds the party, not loud enough for Kusheem to hear it, but reminds everyone there that we need Kusheem's head and his right hand to get paid.
Before anybody moves, Tuco releases an arrow at Kusheem. I'm not fucking around here.
Kusheem is standing rather proudly at the head of his soldiers, 25 strong, and he's got a sword in his hand, and he is pointing it at Lovak. Mr. Lovak, come, let us settle this. Just then, an arrow streaks through the air.
Ooh, 18 plus 6.
It's 24, Marcus.
Thank you. I'm a math teacher and I'm not good at math. Does a 24 hit?
Yes.
That's an auto crit with sneak attack.
So that's
So it starts
it was
with
definitely
a
sneaky.
D6 because it's a short bow.
right. Plus your what? 3d6 for sneak.
Plus 3d6. So it's
Yeah.
a total of how many d6?
8d6.
Or I'll do that twice. Oh, ooh, that's really good.
That's 20,
Thank you.
and that is 21, so 41. Plus, what's your plus?
Plus 3.
44 points of damage.
How much?
44 points of damage. Take that. 1 arrow.
44 points of damage. Kusheem lowers his sword, points it at Lovak. Let us, as two gentlemen, two warriors, meet on the field of battle. And just then there's a... And his head snaps back. And he takes 2 steps forward and he falls onto the bridge, dead. I didn't expect that to happen.
Bring an assassin.
Seeing their leader immediately killed, right in the middle of his monologue.
Why are you looking at me? Look at him.
I bet you it was a good one, too.
Well, it was about to be.
I'm really
I
glad
was
I'm up in a
practicing
tree.
in the car and everything. I'll have to save it
Sorry,
for next
GM.
year or something. They lower their spears and they begin to charge.
That'd be initiative.
Would be initiative.
Okay, I have the list. I need a name.
Just put Nova.
Nova, okay. We'll start with Jeel.
20.
Moulet.
9.
Shynn. 3. Oh my goodness. Ku.
9.
14 for Tuco. Nova.
17?
Lovak.
10.
GM.
12.
I see a 20 at the top for Jeel.
How far are they from Jeel?
They
You
were
were-
at the other end of the bridge, right?
Yeah.
And we're at this end, so the entire expanse of the bridge.
About 40 feet.
My movement is 40, so I will take my move and I will rage and reckless attack.
Oh, of course you will.
12, second attack. Motherfucker. 15,
15 will hit.
Salvaged.
10 points of damage to one of them. That's right, I get
You're raging, so you get
plus 2.
plus your strength plus your rage bonus, which is plus 2, right?
Yeah,
So 12.
Another math master.
thank you.
I can't sit next to everybody.
Yeah, I think he did that all week last time.
I
did.
did too.
I read it afterwards, and I read it in the beginning, and I forget it because over here in small print, D&D Beyond does it down here.
So you rush in towards the 25 soldiers pouring out towards you. One of them thrusts at you with their spear, and you're able to step aside and drive the head of your maul into his face. But he is still not dead.
Next initiative is Nova, who I want to advise you can delay your turn until you see how other party members act, if that's your preference.
Yes, please.
I have a logistics question. How wide is this bridge?
30 feet.
It's 30 feet wide?
Yes.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So Nova is on held action. Tuco is next at 14. Tuco is going to fire an arrow.
Seemed to work out well.
That die
for you.
worked well. Let's play that one. 16 plus 6.
22.
I don't get any sort of bonus on this, like sneak attack, nothing, right? Because it's just a full-on frontal attack.
If Jeel is within 5 feet,
Oh, I definitely would have shot
Jeel's
within.
within 5 feet of
I
everybody.
definitely.
Well, right. So you'll get your sneak attack.
He's
yeah.
got a communal
A
kind of
D6
guy.
for the bow and 3d6 for the sneak attack, for a total of much less, but I'm still happy because I killed
11.
the other guy. 11, thank you.
Plus-
3 makes 14.
Are you shooting at the one that Jeel attacked, or are you going after one of the other?
One in close proximity to Jeel that he has not yet attacked.
And you did 12 points of
14.
damage? 14. Arrow finds its mark in his shoulder, slows his charge quite a bit. He redoubles his efforts and continues.
That's 2 go done. 12 is GM.
They get advantage on me, just remember.
I'm all the way on the other side of the table now, so you don't have me to blame.
Jeel, 6 of Kusheem's soldiers surround you and begin jabbing at you with their spears, these big, broad-headed spears. You are hit 3 times and take 10 points of damage, caught in the thigh, in the meaty part of your side, and 1 grazes off your chest and shoulder. The other ones will continue their charge.
Do they move past Jeel when they do this?
They do. The other
Attack of opportunity.
19.
You don't get reckless attack.
Okay.
Yeah, you should just reroll single die.
Actually, I don't think he gets an attack of opportunity. If he's surrounded on 5 sides, then no one's going to pass within 5 feet of him.
True. Did they completely surround him?
Yeah.
So he doesn't get an attack of opportunity.
Correct, because they'd have to close. Yeah, correct.
Nobody
They'd have to
entered
leave
his
his reach.
space.
Correct. They'd have to leave his reach.
They'll use their full movement and make it to the very end of the bridge, and that'll be the end of their turn. They'll be right there, ready to engage the party.
Next in initiative is the 10 Lovak, and I just want to remind Nova you can jump in at any point.
I'm going to draw Kusheem's sword, grab my shield, and start looking at him and kind of smile a little bit. Gentlemen, you've decided to go the way of the dark. Allow me to enlighten you. Allow me to lift your soul. Allow me to pass you on. And I will attack. That's going to be a 20 crap load and a 14. I don't think the 14
A
is
20 crap load will hit,
I like.
and the 14 will hit.
Okay, well then. So on the first target, it is going to be 13 points. On the second target, it will be 8.
Okay, you move in against the first 2, dip in between their thrusts with their spears, parry 1 spear out of the way, catch 1 in the belly, wounding him severely, swing yourself around the back of the other one, and drag the edge of Kusheem's sword across the back of his thighs, causing his legs to buckle before he catches himself and stands again at the ready.
As I go by, I'm going to whisper, I'm going to make it hurt a lot, you know.
At
That's
the end
what
of your
she
turn,
said.
you
Yes.
sicko.
Next is a pair of 9s, Moulet and Coup.
What's your preference, Coop?
You can go.
At this end of the bridge, we've got the rest of us except for Jeel, right?
Yes.
And then Lovak's really the only one in melee range right now. So I'm going to move up. How far is it from me to the line where Lovak is?
15 feet, maybe.
Great. I'll move up so I'm not adjacent to the line, but far enough away so I can move away after I do this, depending on how it goes. I'm going to position myself so Lovak is not in this cone. Fear. So I'll call the shadow magics to me. So what you all will see is that you've seen it before, but the shadows draw close around him, and this green eldritch energy builds, and then he throws his hands forward, and this cone of shadows goes out. So everybody in a 30-foot cone for me, Scott, DC 14 wisdom saving throws. I don't think I can hit all of them because I'm avoiding Lovak, but I'm hoping to get at least a dozen in the cone.
And you hear Tuco with a tiny little shriek as he jumps back about 10 feet, even though he's not in the cone. He just does not like this stuff.
There is a almost unified shriek as the black, smoky essence of your spell washes over the Perthan soldiers. 8 of them begin covering their eyes, cowering. One of them tries to run, stumbles, falls, curls up in the fetal position. There's sobbing and looks of sheer terror on the faces of these 8 soldiers. Very hardened looking soldiers.
Up until a minute ago.
Up
So they will drop whatever they're holding, those 8, and on their turns, as long as I'm invisible to them, they would have to take the dash action to get away from me.
I'd also like to add that due to their suffering, I'm quietly giggling in the tree branch.
Can we get a perception on that giggling?
It's similar to that.
And then I will move back 10 feet just to make some clearance, and then Ku.
Ku will move ahead and go back to back with Lovak. If they're to his side, or are they in front?
They're in front.
Ku will go to the side of Lovak. We'll say his right. That'll be a masterwork dagger is what he's attacking with. And that'll be a 19.
19 will hit.
And that'll be for 9 points of damage.
Is this one that Lovak has attacked or already?
Yes, we'll
One of
say
the
one
wounded?
that he has attacked.
And you said 9 points of damage?
Yes.
So you're short, as all of your people are. You move alongside Lovak as he's battling it out with these 2 Perthan soldiers. Seemingly unnoticed by those soldiers, you dip in with your dagger and strike him on the inside of the thigh. When you pull your dagger out, there is this big gout of blood, and he begins dumping blood on the bridge. And soon he drops, life fading from his eyes.
I look at the other one and I say, if you jump off the bridge, you might live. Intimidation.
No.
25.
For a moment, it almost looks as though he's considering jumping off the bridge. He certainly wouldn't survive if he were. He takes a few steps back, aims his spear not really towards Lovak anymore, but dips it down just about to your height.
That's my turn.
Next is Shynn.
Shynn will cast Armor of Faith and, as sneakily as possible, head for the corner of the bridge to go over the side and walk the bottom.
Are you going to try to make a stealth roll?
Yes, I am.
Better be good. It's broad daylight.
Well, that's a 16.
All right, so you're going to the bridge. You're going to pretty much literally walk underneath the bridge.
Well, is it a spider climb or a walk?
It's a spider climb is what you use.
That's the mechanic, yes. I can just walk down the underside of the bridge like I'm walking down the upper side if I wanted.
Like when Peter Parker's pacing
Yeah.
in his apartment. Yeah, the walls across the ceiling. For a moment, it looks like Shinn's going to just give himself up to the ocean and leap from the cliff. And he soon disappears. Now, underneath the bridge, what is your plan?
Do I see anything interesting?
It is the underside of the bridge.
Then I'm going to the far side of the bridge.
The opposite side?
Yep.
Or you're going to, or walking the
I'm
length
going
of
to
the-
let my party fight their way along the top, and I'm going to meet them at the other end of the bridge.
Proper healing.
How far away am I up in the tree from the front line?
You've got a bird's eye view about 25 feet away from where the melee is happening.
I'm going to slowly make my way out of the tree and put myself up on the front line next to Ku and Lovak. And I'm going to attempt a dagger strike.
Would she receive advantage as undetected?
No, she's fully visible.
12 plus 5, 17.
A 17 will hit. From the tree line comes a form casually walking by you, Mule, as if she belongs there, and Tuco.
Go.
It is a familiar looking form. Last time you saw the front of her, she was looking like she was getting ready to be hung. And then last time you saw the back of her, she was leaping off a balcony with a backpack in her hand after the princess was snatched by the Neusi. You remember that? One you beat down in the...
The one that we mugged in the field?
Yes.
That one.
She comes to a stop alongside Ku and Lovak. Are you attacking one of the ones that Lovak injured, or are you going to set your sights on someone else?
I will attack the one that Lovak injured to take him out.
Are you a rogue?
Yes.
You get that sneak attack dice because you have allies within 5 feet, so you get that additional damage as well.
Rogue level 4, 1 or 2?
Rogue over 4.
Four.
Should be the same as you.
How many sneak
I'm
attack?
5, I get 3. I think she gets
Oh,
2d6.
she's 4. 2d6, correct.
12.
So this tiefling woman walks up alongside you, Lovak, and casually plunges her dagger into the neck of one of the men you were fighting, killing him. Plucks the dagger back out. He gargles, gags a bit, drops to his knees, clutching his neck as blood pours out, and falls to the ground.
I raise an eyebrow at Tuco.
I figured you could use the help.
Hello, Zach here from Geeks Camp, and I'm here to warn you strongly about our podcast. We've got 3 hosts forming some sort of a Bermuda triad where many unfortunate souls enter and precious, precious few merge again unscathed. One of our siren hosts speaks incessantly about Dungeons and Dragons and God knows what other maleficence. The other, a sea hag of a man that delves the depths of Kickstarter and brings back both luminous pearls and moist clams. Finally, the third and most despicable will spew tales of distant lands like tabletop conventions and other occurrences. Together we weave a tangled net of RPGs, reviews, and interviews that's sure to leave you breathless, drowning. Now let me ask you a question. Has this tantalized you? If so, you can catch the Geeks Can't live on the World of Game Design Twitch and YouTube each week. Just search for World of Game Design on Twitch or YouTube, or search for Geeks Can't, that's GEEKSCANT, in your favorite podcast feed, and you'll be able to download the audio there. Enjoy.
Ku's not even paying attention to her. He's all of this in front of him, not even paying attention.
Tuco looks back to Moulay and says, "The enemy of my enemy."
I stopped all combat, lowered my sword, and is glaring at the spawn that's standing next to me.
That stole your kill.
Well, it has nothing to do with stealing my kill.
Okay, back to the top of the order with Jeel at 20. Oh, did you want to move further? I think you could move further if you wanted. 25 feet? She could move away from that glaring fool.
Well, she had to come out of the tree. That probably
Yeah,
use up
yeah.
the rest of her
Okay.
movement.
Gobbled up the movement.
You're stuck next to him.
That's fine.
You say that now.
Still raging and reckless attacking. 14.
15 hits. The curse is hitting you hard.
Yes, it is. Oh, don't want that. 15.
15 points or 15 to hit?
15 points of damage for the first attack. Is he still standing? Yes, I can take it. So I'm going to hit him. He's not. Then I'll use my bonus action from the great weapon fighting to attack another one. AC 14.
You get reckless on that.
Okay, that's where I was getting confused at. So 21 that time. AC 21
That'll hit.
for 12 more points of damage. And then I'll use my second attack.
On yet another.
Yes. For AC 18. Yeah, 12 more points of damage.
It's like a slaughterhouse.
Nice roll.
So you wade in a little deeper. With your maul, you strike one square in the chest, sending him off the edge of the bridge. With a shriek, there is a body that whizzes past you, Shynn, as you're strolling along the underside of the bridge. Bringing your maul up over your head like you're splitting wood, you strike another one, shortening his neck. There's a sickly splatter of gore and blood as you take down another one of those Perthan soldiers, and then move in for your third attack. The unfortunate soldier takes a few steps backwards before he's struck with your maul in the chest, knocking him back. He catches himself before he is laid out sprawling across the bridge and crouches low, lowering his center of gravity. He readies his spear.
That's the end of my turn.
Next is Tuco. Tuco releases an arrow at the one standing closest to the tiefling. 8 plus 6. That's not great, but I thought 14 might hit. And that gets me 4d6.
9.
9 plus 3 makes 12. Thank you. And then Tuco yells out to the tiefling, "Watch yourself. It's a dangerous place."
An arrow whizzes by, ruffling your braids as it strikes one of the soldiers in the shoulder, knocking him back. He snaps off the arrow and takes a few steps back towards you. Is that the end of your turn?
Yes,
Tuco?
and next is GM.
You notice, even though it's daylight, that blood moon that you've been seeing, that red moon, is still very prominent in the sky. The floating islands of rock that you've been seeing as you've been traveling along the coast and the cliffside, with their swirling red magical energy, begins to be drawn towards the keep itself in wisps of red magic, culminating in what almost looks like a very small twister or cyclone of magical energy at the very top of that one remaining tower of the keep. Something you've never seen before, nor you, Moulay, who's fairly experienced with magic. The feared ones get saving throws, correct?
No.
No.
While I'm in sight, they don't get a
They
save.
don't. Oh, they stay feared.
Correct. So they must use the dash action to get away from me. That's the only action they can take. They have to move away from me as fast as possible, using the safest route possible.
Nothing in their hands. They've dropped everything. They begin clawing and scratching at the bridge and begin to run towards the keep itself, which seems to be the only safe place for them to be right now.
Yep. They don't get a save until they can't see me anymore.
And Tuco took a shuffle step 5 feet sideways because he still is uncomfortable with Moulet.
Lovak, 3 more move in on you and Ku.
And the spawn.
And
You're so kind.
the spawn. What?
I don't want to leave you out of the fun.
What's your armor class?
Keep
I
in
know
mind,
it's
a
high.
spawn is a derogatory.
Mine's
tone.
14.
Do we have a more inclusive term?
At the moment, I'm not using my dex, so I only have a 19.
Okay. Well, a paltry armor class. 3
Because
of
I'm
them.
standing there just staring at the spawn.
3 of them launch spears at you.
I'm sitting there like Madry from Eight and Acorn's Journey, like, when deflect missiles, come on. hit me,
Please,
bitch.
someone throw something at me!
Do you want a spear thrown at you? Oh, someone throw a spear at you.
Just for fun.
I'll do it.
I could shoot something at you.
3 of them launch spears in your direction, Lovak. You casually pivot as they sail by you, skipping harmlessly along the cobblestones of the bridge. The 3 that launched their spears now draw their swords and begin to move in closer.
I'll be with you in a moment.
Ku. 3 of them, of the soldiers, throw spears at you as well, aiming on a downward trajectories. What's your armor class?
15.
None of them hit you. Do you still want to try to that? I'm sorry, I tried.
They have to hit me. They have to hit me in order for it to happen. Sorry, Madry.
And our tiefling friend. What's your armor class? 14, you said?
14.
One of them moves in with a spear, catching you just across the belly with the blade of the spear. You take 2 points of damage. He snickers at you.
I laugh as I wipe the blood off of my stomach and lick it off of my finger.
Jeel, they still have advantage on attacks.
He's still gonna miss.
They move in and there's a maelstrom of attacks. Swords and spears. And you are able to deflect most of them with either the handle of your maul or the head of your maul. You take a few nicks from spears as you're deflecting them, but nothing substantial. And then there is this darkening of the sky, an eerie red glow almost behind the blackness of the sky, and the magical energy begins to swirl even more rapidly. It becomes a brighter crimson, almost like a river of blood coming from the sky. And that's the end of my turn.
Lovak.
The one that attacked the spawn, I'm going to glare at him. I'm having a conversation! And attack him. That's going to be a 19 and a 23.
That should hit.
That's going to be for 21 points.
As you're expressing that you're trying to have a conversation and he's interrupting, you lop a hand off, the hand holding the sword, and then take his head.
Then I'm going to turn to the spawn. State your intentions or I'll cut you down where you stand.
I chuckle, still wiping the blood off of my stomach, and say I don't have to tell you anything.
Death it is.
Can we please focus at the task at hand? Please? There are people in front of us that are trying to kill us. Settle your shit later.
It's not your turn. Next is Moulet and Ku.
It is Ku's turn, actually.
There you go.
You can take this one, Ku, if you'd like.
Ku is going to attack one of the ones that in front of him. That is a 1, which I'm going to re-roll with the halfling ability Lucky. And that is a 6, so a 12.
For damage or?
No, for an attack.
That is a miss. You dip in with your dagger. He slaps your hand away, laughing. You must do better if you're going to play with the larger folk.
And how many are left on the bridge?
The ones that are feared, the 8, they have left. There are 5 of them with Jeel right now, 3 with Lovak, 3 with Yuku, and 1 who was recently parted with his hand and his head. So that's a total of
He doesn't count.
If you count fractions.
11.
How tall are these guys?
Average human height.
So 6 foot?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going between this guy's legs and I'm beelining down the bridge.
Okay.
Can you attack as you go past through his legs?
I already attacked. I'm sure he's going to get an attack of opportunity.
So
yeah,
will anybody adjacent to him.
there'll be a few. Don't worry, my dice still aren't rolling well. You should be fine.
Here come the nat 20s.
Yeah.
Nope.
One. Isn't that one?
It's good to know that
There.
he's consistent.
They're jabbing at you with spears as you race down the bridge, swatting at you with swords. One of them strikes you with the blunt end of their spear, catches you right in the cheek. You take 1 point of damage,
Ku will then take his move 35 feet down the bridge. Shit's going down.
You are 5 feet away from what is the end of the bridge and the beginning of like the courtyard of the keep.
This is Moulet.
All right, so the red swirling stuff. I will say to Lovak, we got to move forward. That ritual is reaching its culmination. We got to get in that keep and stop it, or else we're not going to have anybody left to save.
I'm busy.
Gods, man. Eldritch Blast 2 at one of the ones in front of Lovak. See if I can get it moving here. Gather the energy to me. Green crackling in one hand, black crackling in the other. Send them both at the same guy. 2 hits. 14 points.
You send these 2 bolts of arcane energy towards one of the warriors standing in front of Lovak, striking him in the chest twice. There is a look of surprise on his face as these bolts of energy streak over each of Lovak's shoulders, finding their mark in his chest. He takes a step back for a moment as wisps of arcane smoke begin drifting up from his chest. He still stands, wounded very badly.
I want to move. Can I get around them without provoking attacks of opportunity, or are they pretty much blocking the whole bridge right now?
They're not. There's pockets of combatants.
Why are you worried? His dice can't hit shit.
I don't want to start taking hits. I don't have a ton of hit points. I'm going to start making my way towards the bridge, but taking it wide. So I'll just use my movement to get there, and then end my turn.
Next up is Shynn.
I no longer have any reason to sneak, so I am just going to use full movement to get to the end of the bridge and come back up top.
Those of you that are moving down the bridge, Ku and Moulet, you see Shynn casually come up from the underside of the bridge onto the very end where Ku is nearly standing.
Kusheem's body is outside of my movement range without me dashing, so it's useless for me to do anything on that end. So I am going to firebolt one of the lizard men who is running in fear.
No more lizard men left. You massacred all of them.
I'm going after the ones who ran away.
They're gone as well.
There aren't any there.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
just
I
Perthans.
But there are actual combatants on the bridge
These are
still.
all Perthans.
You could still hit them. People who were actually fighting, you could hit them. That would be nice.
That's your job.
Okay.
And if you really want to keep this up, I'll start screaming across the bridge.
It's a good opportunity for you to shoot one of them in the back.
That's what I was working for.
The Fellowship of the Ring, you guys are not.
That's only a 20.
Is that a dirty 20?
Dirty
or-
20. 7. 8 points.
Send one of them sprawling. He gets back up, begins to crawl, and then climbs his way back up to the upright position and begins to limp his way into the courtyard of the keep.
I'm done.
Next is the Tiefling.
I'm going to look over at Lovak and say, for someone who just saved your life, you seem incredibly ungrateful. And I'm going to then attack one of the soldiers that is in front of him. 17.
17 will hit.
If you can see it, it was a 6.
So 8 plus 3, 11.
Is that to the wounded one in front of Lovak?
Yes.
So as she's telling you just how inconsiderate you are for not being appreciative of her saving your life, she looks over at the enemy, stabs another one in the throat, the one that's got the smoking arcane energy coming from his chest, pulls the dagger out of the throat, and then looks back over at you with a smug look.
You're welcome.
Well, this is going well. Next, back to the top of the order with Jeel.
So how many are left around me still?
There are 5 of them.
First attack, 25
That'll do it.
for 9 points.
It's a wounded one.
Yes, I'll use my bonus action to attack another one. AC 20, 14 points of damage. Then I'll use my second attack, 24.
That'll hit. There, your dice woke up, huh?
Don't let him get too close to his.
14 more points of damage.
That's your second bloodbath in minutes.
With a wide, sweeping arc, you bring your maul into one of the Perthan warriors and then continue past him as you feel bones buckle and shatter into another one, striking him and knocking him off the bridge with a shriek.
I'm going to say to them, if you think this is bad, wait till you see what's behind me. And I point to Lovak. And I say, best if you run. Intimidation check?
Just where are they going to go?
Run.
You guys are all over the place. Where? Like,
Wherever they want to run. 14.
they stand their ground. Maybe it's because they really don't have anywhere to go. There's some of you behind them. There's some of you ahead of them. There's stuff going on with the crimson magical energy. And
Next is Tuco. So Tuco is going to try a bit of a tricky technique here. He learned it picking pockets. He's going to take a full movement directly at Lovak. And he's not going to impact Lovak like he's smacking into him, but he's going to shoulder him in an attempt to distract him from his intense focus. A pretty hard shoulder, not like a damage delivery, but like enough to make you step back and step to the side a little. I'm not that different from his size. And then continue on with the dash motion. What does the GM think of this move?
You could certainly try, yeah.
What am I rolling?
Be a shove.
Shove? Because I'm not trying to knock him over. I'm just
No,
trying to
no.
break his
You
concentration.
can push him 5 feet if you succeed.
Okay.
So that's the move. It doesn't provoke.
Can
so-
I get advantage because he's friendly?
I mean, he probably isn't expecting it.
He probably isn't.
And at the moment, I am not friendly.
Probably won't be friendly for long, but
It's okay. He could have 2 targets then. Yes or no?
sure.
Okay.
Give it a whirl.
All right, so it'll be athletics.
Athletics, that's a good one for me. That's +6. So that's an 18.
So Lovak would get opposed athletics to stand.
Nice. But I'm not trying to knock him down.
No, but that's just for the mechanic.
I rolled a 19.
Oh, so he did.
Fuck you.
But you still hit it. I mean, that's the thing. You didn't move him, but you still pushed.
You still noticed me. I hit you with an 18. Shoulder.
Yes, I was struck from behind.
No.
From an unknown target.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Well, you said you were coming up from behind me.
Well, I am behind you, but I'm not going to hit you in the middle of the back. I'm going
Well,
to
I
hit
know
you in
that.
the shoulder. Okay.
I was hit from behind from an unknown assailant.
Okay, let's see how this goes. This will be fun. And then I leave his space. Does he take an attack of opportunity?
Do the people in front of him take an attack of opportunity?
That they would.
That is a good question. Tuco's moving.
What's your armor class?
15.
He's going to show you why I didn't do that.
I'm not smart.
So you move past Lovak, a rough shoulder. Lovak sees you, move past. You move past the combatants. They
If I
see
can
you,
move through their
past
space.
Them. Yep.
No, you can't.
Well, if there's a gap.
Correct.
It's a
right.
wide enough bridge. It won't be a
Correct.
gap.
It was made clear you can move through. You just can't move through their space, but you can move
I get it.
between them.
I can move if I move between them.
And you are struck twice on your cast
Why are you putting up 3 fingers?
If you hit
for
him.
9 points.
Lovak. 9 points. Well, half that because I have the uncanny dodge. Does that round down or up?
Well, he was hit twice, so you need to give him the individual numbers.
9 is 5 and 4, 6 and 3.
6 and 3.
Yeah, you're
So
going to want to hold
3
that off for
and
my
2
attack.
is a 5, right? Round up.
Yeah. So, well, it was 6 and 3. You take half,
He's
right?
not listening.
Yeah.
So half the 6 is
3. Oh,
That's-
half
that's
2.
it.
3 and
It'll be 3
You
attack.
can only go for one attack. It's a reaction.
Oh, you're right.
It's a
right, right.
reaction.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, one
So
reaction.
3 plus 3 for a total of 6 then.
Correct.
Okay.
You take 6, and then Lovak hit you for how much?
Well, let's see. Did Lovak hit me? Swing.
I rolled a 25. As something struck me and goes by me, I'm going to snap out an arm and just stick out the blade
your
and then
punch.
draw it for 10 points damage.
Eat a bag of dicks.
Don't hit me from behind. You have to announce yourself.
No, I don't.
Well, then
Minus
you take 10
5.
points of damage.
I take 5.
No, you don't. You already used your reaction.
Or you used your reaction.
Oh,
you
but
take all
I-
10.
He would have hit me before they hit me.
Oh, I
Because
guess
I would have
that-
moved
I
to
guess
his
that's
space.
true.
Yeah.
So I minus the 5 from
Right,
him,
so
but
minus
not
the 5.
the other 3 from
Correct.
me.
So you
So
take 9.
14.
14 total.
I'm
Which
good
is
with
why I
that.
said you're going to want to hold that off until for my attack.
Still a move. Let's see what your retention is. Boom.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Tuco.
you double move, right? So you're
Double
60
move?
feet down. Yeah.
So I'm almost at the other end of the bridge. 12 is GM.
Jeel, your enemies close ranks on you, battling it out with you, swinging, stabbing, poking, gouging. One of them manages to get an attack in, catching you just above the rib cage. Takes 8 points of damage. The 3 that were up there with you, Lovak, that were attacking Ku earlier, break off, and they begin to head towards the beginning of the bridge where the keep and the bridge meet. Would you like to take an attack of opportunity?
I already
Someone who's
did.
Not oh, that's right.
I'm my party member. He forgot to announce himself.
Way to keep your head on a swivel.
And then from the keep, there is a shriek. The sky begins to split, almost as if someone is parting a curtain, stepping through it. Large tendrils of black and crimson smoke begin to pour out of this cut or gash in the sky, and then octopoid-like tentacles begin to come out of it, wrapping around the keep. And that's where we'll leave it this week.
Join us every other week as the Eve's Watch continue their adventures in Perth. Thank you to our patrons. Find us on Patreon to join the executive producers team and support the podcast. Our cast: Bill Robitaille, Louis Aponte, Frank Whedon, Jared Parker, Marcus Holt, Sin Morse, our DM Scott, and me, Nova. Thank you, our listeners, for joining us every other week.